Yo, welcome by a new video. I'm Dave B Master and I want to talk with you guys about the state of Destiny 2. In the background you see some footage of the Festival of the Lost. I'm a really high-end player in the grand scheme of things, and I want to give my thoughts about the current state of the game and my ideas of making stuff better, if that makes a little bit of sense. Let's start off for just average casual shit. Okay, the dividers to the casual and hardcore players is pretty much really big at the moment. For casual, it's pretty much a nice season. For endgame hardcore audience, it's not. The loot, the requirements, the grind of it is really obnoxious without any real payoff. Like if you're a new player, they will give you handouts a bit. Getting new stuff is exciting, but for people that are already in the game a lot, like over 5 to whatever the amount of hours they put in, like 5,000 hours or more, they feel like there's nothing to do. The recent changes to PvE with all the nerfs and all the lack of interesting content makes it feel for the hardcore gamers there's not much to do. Casuals will have stuff to do, but they play not that much. They will tune in the game, get out of the game, play something else, come back later, and we see a total drop in everyday players, like from coming back players to pretty much everyday players in the game. Like Destiny is not at a dying stage, but declining of players in total is pretty massive. Like it's going down by 40 to 60% in every category of the playlist. Now talk about how to fix some stuff. I think the seasonal model is okay as it is. I think the content in it needs a little bit of tweaking, like putting more stuff into it that is pushing players to get better instead of handing it out. Not to be in that grindy in total, like killing fucking so much of a certain enemy in the game is not fun. Even at high end games, it's not fun at all. Just make it like challenges that you need to do specific things with specific stuff that will be engaging more, and not the grindy aspect of it. It's like kill 100 facts, but you get bonus progress if you use an exotic or like something like that. Like people really like to use their builds, and I think at current state the builds are really indecisive of how Destiny is at the moment. Like it's basically Bungie says to the players, you need to play like this, and with this. And it's about what is in the artifact, what are the champions, and what is the total activity requirement to get some stuff done. And I think there needs a little bit more leeway to be player friendly to make their own builds. Like there's a lot of restrictions in certain aspects of the game that are really mind numbing. Coming back to PvE, the strike playlist needs an update badly. We have a lack of basically updated strikes. I'm talking about older strikes that are not that fun to play anymore. They are been in the game for a long time and just feel boring as it is. Like we played it so much, we need to come back at it so much because of the pinnacle grind or doing bounties or whatever to get our ranks up, get our loot up, and need to get some more loot. And I think the loot in the Vanguard playlist is pretty meh. I think there needs to be a ritual weapon you can craft or like a crafting weapon from it that is in the loot pool there that you can grind for. But I also think that not new strikes are really needed. I think that the strikes that we have are pretty okay, but they feel like they are still in year two, year three of Destiny, and they need to be updated more to today's standards and more towards putting some stuff in there that makes it a lot more fun. Like a good example is Devil's Lair is a really old strike, but they updated it really well in Destiny 2. And I think from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2 is a big, massive improvement. Like it's visual attractive, it's fun to play, it's had a high enemy density. There's a little bit of mechanics behind it. There's a little bit more engaging than just kill some stuff. You need to be precise a little bit about it. Like it's more engaging. The bricks will add something to it. Like they need to put something more into it. The story wise, what I think about the game is at a good state. I think the good state of the story is pretty nice. I think they need to put a season, just every year a season that is just focused on players instead of focusing on story. That's another gripe I really have. Coming back to PvE, another thing is the lost sectors. They don't have a real place at a time to fucking play. Like if you want to get a certain exotic that you want to grind for and you don't have it yet, the drop rate for that is when the drop rate is there for that exotic. Like if you need arms and you're missing two arms, the drop rate for that is pretty nice. Even on lower difficulties, I think on higher difficulties there needs to be a better reward for it. Like I did over 90 master lost sectors, and I got like 16 exotic drops, and not one I needed. Like the stats were pretty meh, some were pretty okay. Most of them were just awful, and there's nothing I wanted from it really. Like everything I already had. I think the drop rate for that is pretty mind numbing, and it takes a long time to even get to that stage that basically a solo master lost sector that you can run in 3 to 4 minutes on base of just going in there to get loot. That needs to be more rewarding. Like putting like once every 3 runs you get a guarantee exotic will be a great change, and the rest will be like upgrade modules or like prisms or like whatever. Like emeralds will be a really good thing to be on the grind as well. But at the now at the stage, it's better to use legend than master because legend gives better rewards, and master is the better activity to grind. But like most people will not even touch it with a fucking 10 foot pool of fucking dirt, and it feels bad. Like I really liked doing the master lost sectors because they are really in the end game a little bit more for a solo player. They are engaged and not too hard, but they're not rewarding enough. That's the real big issue. Also, the seasonal activities are in a okay stage. I think some of them, like there's an eternity, they need to put something like for the rank system for certain weeks. Put like a 3 times experience buff on it so people can get their ranks more because at this stage people don't want to play There's a Fraternity that much. Like there's a big community that is not playing it at all because they think the grind is awful. Coming back to a little bit more PvP focus, we have Gambit. Gambit is in a state that is non-existent almost. The baseline of it, like 2 seasons ago, they did a major rework on it. It was still in a player base of 3.6% that plays it. We now dropped to 2.8 at the current state of the game. And I think with the 2 reworks they have done and put all the improvements they are willing to do, I think they took it the wrong way around. Like I personally think a great change will Gambit, except for change in the loot system in it, will be just rework the mode that it's gonna be a gamble. Like it's gonna be a real gamble if you play Gambit. You will start out with my idea is more like you start off with full special, full heavy, but you don't get anything else. Like you don't get any special or heavy throughout the match in Gambit. So you start off with 7 rockets, like 7 gallons. You can use for DPS, you can use for AdPick, you can use for invading. But if you run out, you're out. You don't get any more. I think that will be one of the better changes to putting it more into for more players to enjoy it a little bit more. Also, they need to go back into Gambit Prime kind of feel because now at the stage it's not really up to date. Like the enemies density is nice but not really good enough. Like it feels a little bit off. They need to change something with maybe throw in an ogre once or twice or some bigger targets or maybe even a mini boss more into it or put like special invade stuff into it. Personally, I feel like a great improvement will be like giving people roles. Like you have an invader role and an ad clearing banker role that you put in, like the old ways that we play it with the armor sets that give buffs for certain things. If you kill an invader, you get a guarantee special ammo and an overshield. If you do it with blockers, you kill blockers as a blocker defender. Like that kind of shit needs to come back. Like I think that's a big deal into Destiny 2 Gambit that will fix Gambit a bit better. But I also feel like Destiny with Gambit is like a weird mix, and I never really like it that much. Back in the early days when we had its first release in the season of the Gambit, pretty much with Season of Drifter, um, just before Obolence, it was in a good state. It was also really new, and with Reckoning backing it up, it had a better spot right than it is right now. It's right now in a spot that is feels unwilling to play, unworthy to play, and unrewarding to play. Um, then we got this big change into PvP. Recently, we got this season, in season 18, skill-based matchmaking in casual playlist control. And my take on it is they should have never done it. Like I think personally, from my perspective, I am not a terrible player. I am sitting at this moment in the playlist at a 2.80, 18, 2.18 KD, and I feel like at this stage the balancing and the skill-based matchmaking is really off. Like the skill-based matchmaking, you play a lot of bad connections, you play a lot of queue times, you are playing a lot against the same type of people, the same players pool is still there, but like a really bad balancing issue what I always had with Destiny 2 from the biggest change they had of Season of the Worthy is like they it feels like we always get a mixture of bad players on a really heavy spot on good players piece of teams, and then you got the average line of it. So you got like the guy that rocks a 5.0. Then you got a guy that is a 2.0, and then you get a 0.30, 0.10, 0.0. Right? In a 5v5 situation. Like you get like two good players, four trash players. And then on the opposite side, you have everything is a little bit more closer, like a 1.8, a 1.5, 1.4. Like all those players are in that state, like in that team, right? So, and what will happen is like it can snowball each way, but mostly it goes to the average team because they will have more luck with engagement because on the board in a 1v1 battle, they win most of the time. So it's not really that balancing. Also, the loot in PvP right now in Crucible is non-existent. I never touch a Crucible weapon. I only use crafted weapons because they are far better. Like there's no depths in there. There's nothing really in that loot pool. Maybe a sniper, maybe a little thing like that. But like everything else feels like pretty meh. Then you got the Glory playlist. The Glory playlist has some great rewards in the ranking that you can get like good levels up. But in the end of it all, like there's only one thing you can reach up, and there's a catalyst for the Mina Mini tool for an exotic. And everything else is not there. There are no more ritual weapons like a Not Forgotten, like a Luna's Hall, Recluse, Mountaintop. They are not there. Revoker, they are not there. So I think a big change to Glory is at certain ranks you get like a small package, right? So you start off, you get a small package, let's say two Umbros and an Ascended Prism, right? Then you get another rank up, you get to Hero, you get like a little Glimmer buff, and you get like some materials, and maybe, I don't know, a Transmog or something, reward a Transmog token. And you build it up to Ascendant Shards. And if you hit Legend, that is your end of the reward for that season. Like if you hit that, that is the thing, and you get a little, maybe a good emblem will show it, or a like something like that. Just give us a reward on the end of the tunnel, because now the tunnel is dark as fucking hell. There's no light. Then we have Trials. Trials is at a really bad state, not because the mode is bad, but the intuitive of the mode is not good designed. To keep players in the pool, they need to be in. And bringing back players that want to play trials on more than just getting one time flawless. Like for me, when I play trials, I see a lot of the same type of people that are already on flawless or already been flawless in cars that I just started up with people. And it feels really bad to play against people that are already that good and just don't play more. And also, the casual audience will not touch you with fucking any hand because of the big skill issue that is there. I think one of the ways to approach it, Lenzer made a good video about it, by the way. And I support the video. Basically, what he said is make a card that you guarantee one lighthouse passage that week. So you get 7 wins on your card. If you have 100 losses on it, don't care. Get 7 wins. That card will guarantee you that weekend and a dead weapon from the pool. So you don't get any instant charge, you don't get any emblems, just the weapon reward, and you go to the lighthouse to pick it up, right? I think that's a good way to go. I really think that's a good way to go. Also, I think the flawless pool is not even used because most of my friends that I know and play a lot of trials will not even go into that pool, especially when they are making carries or they helping people or they just want to have a little bit of fun. Like it's just at the stage where we are right now that people that are going into trials and are really good at playing PvP, they don't get into the place they need to be to play PvP because it's much more benefit for them to play in the lesser pool of players. And that basically divides the player base a lot more because you have people that are go ultra sweaty and stay in the flawless pool, but people that are sweaty enough to get in there will not go in there because they want to shit on some people. And it's from both perspectives, it's understandable, but for everyday audience, where we need more people in there, we need more people in the playlist because the declining in trails at the best stage we had, it was almost at 1 million players. We're now dropping to 206K. Like that is a big massive drop. Like it's that is by almost fucking 80% gone, non-existent, doesn't come back, doesn't play it. Like at that stage, in numbers wise, you are big losses, like big massive losses. So my proposal, maybe the confidence card, like putting in a card that, like a card that just basically, if you get a certain amount of wins with the losses, you still get the debt loot. I will think just rip that whole system out of the cards, put one card in there. That card will, you need 10 wins on it. 10 wins, that's it. And you go to the lighthouse. And if you go 7 wins without losing, you can turn that card in to get cosmetics and a little bit extra of shit. But you get no emblems, no cosmetic shit. So no emblems, no shaders, no nothing like that. But you get the raw materials. So sand shard, prisms, a dead weapon, that's it. And you can just rebuy that card every single time. But when you drop it in at 7 or 10, you start all over again. You need to buy it again and again. Like I think that's a better system. You can reset your card, but when your card is put in, you need to grab a new one every time you do that. And I think that's better because people that want to get flawless will go for flawless, and they will have an easy time to get into 7 wins instead of 10 wins. But people that grind the card out and stick with it, they have a better chance to get to the place that everybody wants to go. Is that loot drop? Also, I think that change will massively increase the player base in it more because I really think about that a lot. Like I see all this perspective. Maybe the card from what Lanza proposed is a good idea. I hear Senna talk about ranking system in for comp is a great idea. But I think in general we need really a lot of people with great ideas coming to Bungie and fixing the shit that we are dealing with. Also, Coming from an end game perspective, doing dungeons every week, Bungie, is fine for pinnacles. But after that stage, why do we bother? Like there's nothing to gain from it. After some stage, you're just done with it. Like for me, duality has no value. For me, Shadowrun has no value. For me, pinnacles have no actual value. But I need to regrind that shit for certain activities that I don't like. Same thing with right now, Festival of the Lost. I hate, I really hate that we are forced to wear a helmet or wear some shitty gear that fucks up stats and armors or the appearance of your guardian. I really like the appearance of my guardian. I worked at it, I grinded for shit, and now I need to put on some goofy helmet that I don't appreciate because I'm not really into Halloween in a video game. If I want to play a video game Halloween event, I play another game because the events in Destiny 2 are not, they are in the state that they are, right? They are okay-ish. They're nothing special. They're nothing bad, but they're always in a weird in-between space. Like you can like it, you cannot like it, but in the end of the day, 3 weeks it will be gone. No, everybody forgets about it, right? So at that point, why do we even care? Like, and the worst take I have that I really dislike and feel strongly to avoid the events is basically the requirement of the new pass, the new card that we have. So we get this challenge card that we have, and I really think the system that is in place right now is forcing monetization in a disgusting way. I know that you want to make money, Bungie, but I really want to give you money for doing good shit and not putting getting money from me because you are limiting me to get it. Like I really dislike. I understand that the ornaments need to buy for it. I really understand that, but for a shady emote, a like a trans effect, like a ghost, like that kind of shit, that should be in the triumphs to get it, and not in a card that you need to buy it and then with tickets. Like I really don't understand it, and I really hate the system. I just hate that we need to put a helmets on when events are there that don't improve anything. They're just a nuisance just for the theme of this event going, and I really dislike that a lot. But I will still play Destiny. I like it a lot. I like helping people for raids. Like raids are in a good spot right now. I think they should update the pool a little more for raids and dungeons, in particular dungeons. Dungeons are in an okay state, but I think with the Spoils of Conquest system, they need to put it in dungeons as well. If you complete a dungeon, you can waste spoils to get certain things. And I hope that they put in more emphasis on crafting and put more craftable weapons in the game because I really like that system. I really do like that system. The red system is, for me, a good reason to keep on playing. But a lot of shit in the game, I just avoid. I don't like to play in Gambit, so I don't play Gambit. The normal straight playlist is not existent. I like doing raids. I like helping people out with stuff, and I like to play PvP. But everywhere has these issues. The only issues that is not there really is basically the updated weapon systems with the raids. So Kingsfall, those raids have craftable weapons. VOW has that, and they feel really rewarding, really good, and really fun to use. And the raids are also really good and really fun to play. They are in a great state, but I feel like raids like Deep Stone Crypt, a Garden Observation, they need a big update in that pool, man. The loot pool in there is really bad. From a player that wants to grind it out more, like certain roles is random and you need to rebuy them, rebuy them, rebuy them. I really don't like that system a lot. I wish there was a system in place to get us more craftables. Because at this stage, just go with craftables. People who play the game a lot. Yeah, it will burn out for gold rolls because we can make gold rolls. But some weapons you can actually, like for instance, the adept Grandmaster weapons, they are not really that good, but not really bad also. You can grind them out if you want, like that's fine. But there needs to be a little bit more emphasis on better rewards, and especially for endgame gamers, getting more rewards in total. Like we are just grinding our asses off, doing all this stuff that Bungie gives us to require, doing a master rate and all that shit, and we are getting the worst loot ever, like a 58 stat roll armor piece from a master boss fight on challenge mode is unacceptable. But even at that stage, just give us better rewards. Just give us more emphasis to play that content that you are basically as in the game forever. You need to be updated. Like I think a big loot update will heavily improve the game. I think a big update of bringing some stuff up to date, skill based matchmaking, like people don't like it at all. Like I don't understand why they put it in there because most of the PvP hardcore community say it's god awful. You don't listen, Bungie, and this is what you get. You get the declining. Like and people still play your game, but in a lesser population than you are used to. And if you go this route of pleasing the more casual side of things, you're gonna lose more and more players. The hardcore community, those bring the big bucks. Newcomers will come in, slap some bucks down, get out. They will not stick. And if they stick, they will become hardcore players. So in the end, what you need is hardcore players. People that put thousands of hours in your game and work for the game and get better into the game. They will help you get a good game. Like if the game is already, we are already saying like we're one update away every time from a good PvP experience, a good fucking rotations, good fucking quality of season. Like we're always one update away, and Destiny is nailing some stuff, but also putting stuff back. We need to put a big step forward, and Bungie need to listen to some hardcore community players and talk about stuff that need to fix. They did it before, back in year one of Destiny. They put all the people together, say what's wrong, and the people said it was what the problem was. I think that should be a good thing. That's my opinion about it. I still love the game, still play it every day, and I love it really much. But I think at this point we need to change and put it more up to date to today's standards, and giving players that are really in the end game stuff more emphasis of getting the rewards they are willing to grind out. That's my take. Peace out, everybody.